So the media loves talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, why wouldn't we? She's got fantastic policies. She's really pushing the Green New Deal, Medicare for all. She's engaged on social media. She's got an amazing following, and she's generally a very good, fantastic speaker, politician, etc. Right? Now, there are some problems with some of the coverage that she's gotten. For one, she's, of course, attacked Fox News for having some strange obsession with her. And those attacks are very, very amusing. But there's also a lot of criticism, you should say, coming from the many in the center, right? And then there are some very strange articles, including one that says that she should run for 2020. Well, now, wait a minute here. So now, Ocasio-Cortez, she sees this article. This is from this is a Vox article from Matthew Iglesias, right? Who says, hey, you know what? Even though that she's not actually going to be able to run, she should still run in 2020. But why? And I'm not asking this question. Ocasio-Cortez is also asking this question. In fact, she says, in response to this article, quote, how about no? Hey, that is a fairly clear answer. She's not interested in running in 2020, right? Now, she also said, and I love this, sometimes political media is too fixated on personalities instead of policies. The whole country just went through an exhausting midterm election. We need a break. Can we instead talk about healthcare, a living wage, legalizing cannabis, a Green New Deal, and other issues? Yes. Yes. That exactly. And again, she can't actually run for 2020. But even if she could, it's one of the things where, hey, instead of doing the horse race, let's actually talk about the issues, right? And again, she was responding to an article from Iglesias. Now, he said that she should run despite not being 35 years old. He said, quote, it's ridiculous to have an age limit on the presidency. And he said that people under younger than 29 are, quote, routinely trusted with life and death situations. While the law prevents anyone under the age of 35 from becoming president, we currently have a septuagenarian in the White House whose frequent nonsensical diatribes and notoriously scattered Twitter outbursts repeatedly raised a prospect of mental decline. Now, look, that's an interesting conversation if you want to have it. But I think a lot of people right now do not want to have it, especially Ocasio-Cortez. Now, here's an idea, right? Again, if you want to have this, a discussion on, oh, maybe we should lower the age for president or abolish the age. Okay, that's an interesting conversation to have. And you could have good points on both sides, right? But here's what I think this is about, right? And again, this is my analysis of this. Iglesias is, I think, a member of the establishment, right? Establishment press. What this is, I think, is a way to deflect and distract from talking about actual issues. So now, what are, establishment figures trying to ignore? Green New Deal, Medicare for all. Those are incredibly popular policies and very, very ambitious. So Democrats, establishment figures, are like, oh my God, no, let's talk about something else. I know, let's talk about the horse race. Yes, horse race politics. Let's go. In fact, Iglesias, in his article, mentions that, quote, the top two Democrats in national polling, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, are 77 and 76, respectively. So that's a knock on Bernie Sanders, for one. Bernie Sanders should be the front runner. The only reason he is not the front runner is because he is loathed by the establishment, who continue to try to push for younger and younger people. Now, the reason I think he's pushing for Ocasio-Cortez to run is not because he wants to have a fundamental conversation about changing the age to run for office. No, it's because, for one, she has no chance of winning because she wouldn't legally be allowed to run. And for two, she would create a big distraction. And then, of course, you would have the establishment attack her on if she decides to run. Oh, it's not legal, for one. And even if it was, oh, she's got no experience. She's got no qualifications. She's a political neophyte. Hasn't gotten anything done. That's because she hasn't even started her job yet. Doesn't know how politics works. And oh, look how ambitious she is. So on and on, right? So let's be honest about, I think, what the motivations are for running this article. And again, and I'm not against having a conversation on this, but here's the thing. Look, Ocasio-Cortez hasn't even had a chance to build up a legislative record. Bernie Sanders has. And by the way, I think I have no doubt that she'll make an amazing congresswoman. I'm not worried about that. I think Ocasio-Cortez is fantastic. But at the same time, let's not talk about her running for president, but let's actually talk about the issues that she's espousing. So, and that, of course, is Medicare for all, free college, abolishing ICE, Green New Deal, all this stuff that, for the most part, is incredibly popular and stuff that Americans actually need. And they really don't want her to talk about policy, and they want to find some ways to attack her. And so I think this is just another way to try to distract from this and to not have this conversation and not talk about policy. So this, again, more establishment tricks. And that's what I think this is. And thankfully, she's calling this out. And she's showing that, unlike a lot of other politicians, she's not in it for herself or her own policy. She's actually in it to do good policy. She's not in it for her own power. I said policy, but she's absolutely in it for good policies that help the American people. So all this 2020 nonsense, look, it's just a way to try to drum up that 2020 horse race, maybe get a couple of clicks, as well as distract from the things that actually matter. Medicare for all. And by the way, it's also a good distraction to get you off of talking about how most Democrats right now still don't support Medicare for all, still don't support a Green New Deal. That stuff should be the focus. Getting Democratic politicians on board for these policies instead of jumping into that horse race coverage, which you know the establishment media is already trying to do. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.